And to Anita, the director of the Way Back. We had a great conversation on Friday about the fact that March is Gambling Awareness Month. And if you or someone you know is struggling with a gambling problem, you can visit areyoureallywinning.com or call 1-800-GAMBLER. I'm going to be honest, I'm a little bit scattered today as I even go through all of our great sponsors, which, by the way, thank you so much to the folks who've been supporting our sponsors and supporting this show by reaching out to them. And I'm so grateful to have new sponsors on the show. It means that they know that these are important conversations. They support the pursuit of making sure that that we really are moving the ball forward in the shadow of what's going on at the national level. I've been following some of the news today. I saw the ridiculousness of apparently the president is now hawking used cars on the front lawn of the White House. That's what? And now there's new travel restrictions for people from Canada if they're going to be here for more than 30 days. And there's also now the doubling of the tariff on steel and aluminum. And then whatever. So I'm trying to process all this while also today, Declan, my son, who is 19 years old. For those of you who know about Declan, bear with me as I reintroduce a little piece of my family's story. My beautiful son, Declan, has a neurological disorder. A teeny tiny part of his brain is missing, but it causes a lot of effects, whether it's his ability to have higher process thinking, meaning he doesn't necessarily process language. He cannot speak. Mobility is very hard for him, especially now in the last couple of years, because that was the one thing he had, right? There's been a lot of challenges, but this kid could walk for miles. And one morning he woke up in 2022 and was limping, and then within 2 days his legs locked up, and we still now almost 3 years later do not have any answers as to what happened. And we're trying very hard. We do physical therapy. We have done stretch labs. We've done a lot of tests, and we're still looking for answers. And because of his disabilities, it's also very hard to get dental work done. He has incredibly challenging oral situation in the sense that like when your brain has something that sort of short wires the messaging, that affects kind of your global development. Like Declan has severe scoliosis, for example. He had 172 curvature of the spine that had to be corrected with 2 titanium rods. And we've known for a long time that his teeth there's a lot of the adult teeth have not come in, and they're sort of backed up and causing, we don't know how much pain it causes him because he can't tell us. So when he gets frustrated now, I don't know if it was because he has all these adult teeth that never were able to grow. It's not like he has any baby teeth. It just, there's nowhere for them to go. So he has developed an infection that had to be dealt with surgery today, amongst a lot of other things with his dental work. And since he was being sedated, they also sent in the neurologist and an orthopedic surgeon to try to evaluate some of the other things that are going on. So it's been a very long day. And man, oh man, my husband, I'll tell you, this guy takes on so much of this because people always say, I don't know how you do everything. It is entirely because I have such an incredible support system, the chief amongst which is my husband. My mom has provided so much support to make sure that we have what we need. And Steve has been carrying the brunt of the stress when it comes to scheduling and coordinating all the specialists and what does Declan need ahead of surgery or procedures or all these things. And it didn't hit me until we were in the car. It's because there's all this anxiety that goes ahead of, anything that you're doing with your child, especially a beautiful young man like Declan, who he doesn't know what's happening. We can't explain it to him. There's not really a way for us to communicate what's about to occur. I mean, being sedated and it's kind of confusing and there's all these people around you poking at you. But man, it was just, it was a relief that Declan didn't get upset today. He was very chill. We had to go for hours without letting him eat or have anything to drink. And he was he was just chill, man. He was like, okay, what are we doing? I mean, there came a point when he started getting frustrated because he wasn't, able to have his snacks or his cup. So he's going to be in recovery for a bit, and then I'm hopeful that we have some answers. I'm not expecting the full range of, because in order to evaluate a patient like Declan, there's not that much in the area of there isn't like a liaison at a hospital to, at least not that we've had the experience of working with patients who are nonverbal, who have communication challenges, and so they have to rely on us. But even for we didn't know that he might possibly be in pain from what was going on. So at any rate, that's where I am today, and I want to thank everyone who's reached out. I shared a photo with Declan, just chilling in the hospital. I kind of shared our story, at least a glimpse of our story, on Facebook, and then I went out for lunch, and I was checking my messages, and you guys, it occurred to me, that and I know that I have lashed out at people on social media. Usually my lashing out, and I could be wrong. Sure, I'll be kind of taunting or whatever. I've never slid into someone's DMs and just been nasty and called people names. And like, for example, this morning, let me see if I can find the one I got this morning. Because I was just like, dude, it's 7 a.m. Like, who wakes up and goes, I'm going to call this woman a lying whore? Like, who has a cup of coffee and a cigarette and goes, you know what I'm going to do right now? So I was thinking, look, we're all going through things in our lives, but on top of everything else that I'm dealing with, let's see. Well, here's one from Danny. Oh, that's an FU. I can't do that. I can't say that on the air. One guy said, "Screw you in the horse you wrote in on." So clearly the coffee had not kicked in yet. What else we got here from Richard McHugh? Oh, D-bag. He called me a D-bag. Okay. That's interesting. Richard, in the morning. They came in at 7 a.m. There's a guy named Rob Staylow. What a great name for somebody who just has absolutely no character whatsoever. But he said, first he asked me why I would add him to my page, which I can't do that. You might get an invitation if you respond to a post. You might get an automatic response like, hey, would you, come follow the page. So I didn't add him to anything. Maybe he just saw it in his feed and doesn't understand how the algorithms work, and that's fine. Oh, and then he said, let's see, what time did this one come in at? Oh, that came in. So he was awake at 1 a.m. I guess, drunk texting is also a thing, but he called me an effing slut at 1 a.m. So these are the things, so on top of, I work during the day for the state of Illinois. I come here and I have these conversations, try to do social media. I'm with my family, going through all the other things. You can't cut through, at least, believe me, folks, I'm not necessarily immune to, especially anything that's threatening. Most of the stuff, I laugh at the fact that they're spending energy on this, and sometimes I respond, but I don't need to. It's not necessary. I will say this. As much as we've been getting these guys, right, and it really is all just angry dudes whining about their lives. I don't know what to say. But we also, and this is something I try to remember, my husband told me this back when we first started dating and I was doing stand-up comedy, and I would get these comment cards, right? I'd get or people leaving the club, and you'd get one person that would say something really nasty. And my husband was like, he goes, 100 people walked by and said you were great, and all you can remember is that one nasty person. So I want to thank all the folks who have been following us on the Patti Vasquez show page, and all of you, because there are so many more. Look, and this is the hard part to remember too. There's so many more of us than there are of them. They're just so freaking loud. So I've got to remember that. So thank you for your kindness, for your support, and for joining us for these conversations. So I'm very grateful for that. The phone lines are open if you want to give us a call at 773-763-9278. That's 773-763-9278. We're glad you're here for the conversation. And coming up in about 15 minutes, we're going to check in with Patrick Watson, Executive Board Member of Indivisible Illinois. And then we're also going to have Kirk Bangstad on later in the second hour. So you can call or text at 773-763-9278. More in a moment on WCPT 820 Heartland Signal.
Stephanie Miller.
Bob Cesca joins us now.
Oh, God, shut down the internet. Can we just shut it down? We just got to unplug it. We need a timeout from the internet.
Yeah.
All of American society. I think, you know what? I say that half jokingly, but the other half is like, yeah. As someone who worked his entire career on the internet, I feel like we just weren't evolved enough. We weren't ready when it came along. Came along way too soon.
Stephanie Miller, weekday mornings 8 to 11 on WCPT 820. Alexa, play WCPT.
WCPT from TuneIn.
If you're listening to this station right now, you've definitely heard my voice before. Hi, I'm Hawk.
And I'm Pete. And we're with Source Solar, your local source for solar. Source Solar is Chicagoland's premier solar installer, providing solutions for over 1,000 homeowners and business owners across Illinois and Iowa.
With over a decade of industry experience and deep roots here in Chicago, we have the expertise to help your transition to clean, renewable, resilient energy.
We can guarantee that we save you money day one without any out-of-pocket cost to you. This means you have an instant ROI, instant payback, and can save money to add to your bottom line day one.
At Source Solar, we source everything as local as possible, meaning we always carry the Made in USA sticker.
Find us online at www.source.solar. Stop in our office at 5710 North Northwest Highway or give us a call at 773-985-3992.
And don't forget to ask for Hawk
Or Pete.
Patti Vasquez is taking your calls now at 773-763-9278. Driving it home with Patti Vasquez now on WCPT 820.
By the way, if I haven't mentioned it in a while, I want to thank Dan Levy for the great work that he does here with our promos. That's his big booming voice that you hear all day long. And he does a great job of putting those pieces together. So thank you, Dan Levy. Let's see who we've got on the phone. We've got Jim in Chicago. What's on your mind, my friend?
Hi, Patty.
Hey.
There's nothing more difficult on this earth than somebody you love intensely who's in trouble. I mean, there's nothing worse than that.
Oh, thank you, Jim.
But how you can listen to this? I mean, Patty, if I had an internet, and the only time I ever saw the internet, it was playing, some nut had me playing that straight jacket poker game they invented, Texas Hold'em.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway, I hate the game. I despise the game because it's an internet game. But anyway, the guy talked me into playing. So I sat down and played, and I was looking at the cards, and there's a Comet. And I said to the guy, I said, who is this guy, Comet? I said, oh, he's watching you play. I said, well, he's not going to watch me play. I said, unplug this machine because I don't want anybody watching me play anything. But anyway, Patty, take Canada, for instance, today.
Yep.
They've had health care for 50 years. If you're a minstrel, if you're a poet, you have health care. The House of Representatives wants to take $1 trillion out of our Medicaid budget, and now the nerve of them, they'll say, well, they got to prove they can work. So in other words, if you're in a wheelchair, they can film you going down the fast food place and make fries in your wheelchair so you can get insurance. And the other comment that's insane, every time they put Trump on, they got him on morning and night now.
Yep.
I made the mistake. I look at it, he goes, the guy in Canada's a strong man. All I can think of is he should work for a circus. Everybody either is a strong man, or if they're not a strong man, they can't work in a circus. But think about but still, Patty, you think about the the people that are disabled, for instance, or whatever the case may be. And food stamps. I mean, trying to live on $180 a month in food stamps.
Yeah.
I mean, good luck. Good luck to you.
Did you?
I mean, I ain't kidding.
Did you see Congresswoman Katie Porter go after Jamie Dimon from J.P. Morgan about basically she had?
Oh, good for her.
Oh,
good
yeah.
for her. You're good.
Yeah, she was saying she had, you know how she is with her charts and her dry erase board, and she broke it down for one of your employees who's a teller gets $16.50 an hour, which comes out to just roughly about $32,000 a year. She's a single mom with a daughter, and she goes to because this guy was like, oh, people need to be smarter with their money. Can you imagine earning $32,500 in California as a single parent? I mean, what the frickin' fuck? Come on.
No, but the point is, they want you to swallow this nonsense. That's the thing. But remember, they got a book out today. He is a Russian asset. He borrowed more money from the Russian syndicate than anybody on this earth. They came to his tower with $6 million in cash. I'm going to buy 3. They had no intentions of it. They were just laundering money through his real estate outfit. Yep. So he's indebted to these Russians up to his eyeballs. And remember, the Russians, it's cheap to buy these podcasts, these radio stations.
Oh, yeah.
They can come with $1 million, a couple $100,000, and the guy will say anything. He'll say, he'll say absolutely anything. And that's what hurt. And then we got Greg Bayless talking about how now we got to get 6 IDs to get down the street and so on and so forth. But he's a Russian asset, man. There's no doubt about it. And anyway, I hope Declan is feeling a lot better.
I hope so too.
Thanks for taking my call.
Thank you so much. God, that was so sweet. I don't know if you heard the kind of hitch in Jim's voice, and I want to thank you guys. There's so many great and sweet texts coming in, and it really does set the balance of what so many of us go through in this position of having these conversations. Of, I don't let myself go to the dark places in the back of my mind. I know that my husband, he's got so much to worry about between what I do here and Declan and our son Griffin. It's a lot of balls in the air, and there's a really a lot of sweet texts coming in. Everyone I know who has heard your program loves your wit and helping us sort out what the hell is going on. Never stop fighting for our democracy and our constitutional rights. We have unfortunately taken for granted. Speaking for myself on that last part, I agree with you on that. I think that we've taken so much for granted, and I remember I want to say the boys were little, so like maybe around 2008, 9 or so. I have so many parts of my life that I have to manage, and I was just having a moment of extreme anxiety, and I remember sitting on the floor of our bedroom just like trying to figure out how to just do the next thing and take a breath, and my husband wrapped his arms around me and he said I don't even know what we were in the middle of, and he goes, "You make me want to be a better man." And it really is when I say that my husband is my rock, and it reminded me that I do have a lot of work to do, and it really is both of my sons that make me want to fight. And in particular, when I realized that Declan was getting services that a lot of other parents who are in my position don't have access to, I can't help every single person, but I can talk to the people who pull the levers of power in Springfield. And that's what has essentially landed me in this chair and having these conversations with you. And there's so many people to thank. It was all the parents that came with me to Springfield to testify in hearings and talk to these legislators who otherwise, sort of make these decisions in a vacuum. If you're not in front of them, and this is why I encourage people to go to their legislators' offices. When I was running for state rep, a lot of folks were like, "Can't you just run for alderwoman? Wouldn't you rather do that?" No, because I know that where we need to put the state on the right path for making sure we are putting the needs of seniors, for people with disabilities, for working families here. It is at the state level, and there are a lot of things that have come out that are putting us on the right path. The work that J.B. Pritzker has done, when Governor Rauner was still in office, Comptroller Susana Mendoza made sure we prioritized paying the people who do the heavy lifting of caring for marginalized communities, underserved individuals, and so I'm really grateful for the work that they do at the state level. And now we are about to see, I don't know if you heard this in the news, but Jess Piper, I just saw on her feed that there was an announcement a memo sent out to people who work in Department of Education buildings, that those buildings will be closed tomorrow. So that's the Department of Education employees were told that all education buildings in all the buildings in the D.C. area will be closed tomorrow for undisclosed security reasons. So everyone has to be out by 6 o'clock tonight to the Department of Education. So there we go. Auntie Sherry, how are you doing?
Hey, I'm pretty good. Well, okay.
Right? Yeah, I'm sorry. Are you hydrating?
Well, sweetheart, it's warmer there than it is here in Vegas.
What's the temp?
It's like maybe 60, and it's supposed to rain. See, it gets cold here.
Yes.
When it rains, it gets cold, unlike, other places. So yeah. But I'm trying to calm myself down after calling in Sunday, talking to the folks on the family meeting, and just
what happened?
The entire hour. This guy talked about a wedding and how he didn't like cake and criticized New Orleans. It's like,
what?
I said, girl, I got on. I said, this is what you talk about for an hour?
Wow.
I said, we're about to lose everything.
Wow.
And you're Anyway, the reason why I called is like, you just let me know if we need to go after the mofos who messing with you. I will send Pojo and Nug them down to kick they what.
I appreciate it. Well, that's the thing about having so many new followers. Like, because we were kind of hovering at a few thousand. We are now up to 9,000 followers on the Patti Vasquez show page. And I'll tell you, they're taking your attitude and they're coming in swinging. So I want to thank our army of wonderful, like-minded, smart, intelligent, beautiful people out there.
You, Patty, the whole WCPT is my lifeline.
Oh, I want to hug you, Auntie Sherry.
It is my. I listen to the Black Asian guy. I listen to Stephanie. I listen to Tom. I listen to Jonas Esposito. I listen to you. I listen to Randy Rhodes. I listen to, is it Rick Smith?
Yep.
Sweetheart, I listen all day. So anyway, like I said, if you need me to get in contact with Pojo and Nug them.
Num Pojo, yep.
We gonna bust a cap and they.
Whoa! We are not. We won't use that language. No, it's.
No.
Metaphorically.
Not that type of cap.
Yeah.
Not that type of cap. It's gonna be like,
pop rock.
One of those
pop rocks, like those.
Just a rubber tip cap.
There you go. Yeah. I hear you.
I love you, sweetheart.
I'm
praying for you.
Thank you, my
and
love.
your beautiful son.
He really is. I mean, like, both my boys keep me going every single day. Thank you so much. And calls like this, Auntie Sherry. Thank you.
Okay. You're welcome, sweetheart. Love you guys all.
Love you. Yes, I want to come back to this. Oh, Auntie Sherry, you're getting fired up for me. She is not playing. I do not want to get into. I don't want to tussle with Auntie Sherry. I gotta tell her. I gotta tell Dwayne to come back in so Auntie Sherry can also be happy when he's here. Yes. So there's a news right now that I'm seeing that the Education Department has plans to lay off 1,300 employees. As I mentioned, they all received a notice. Those who are working in the D.C. area were told that they need to be out of the offices today by 6 o'clock, and they will not be allowed in the buildings tomorrow. The headquarters in D.C. and regional offices will be closed Wednesday with access forbidden. They'll be reopening on Thursday. The closures were ordered for unspecified reasons. So, this is so they can get the radicals, the zealots, and the Marxists out of the Department of Education. You guys, do you know that even like people are like, oh yeah, we're saving money. How much of the budget do you think the salaries for people who work in the Department of Education is? For the salaries, it's 0.3%. Not even 0.5% of all salaries. So for all of, and I'm with Congresswoman Crockett when she says, they didn't even send in forensic accountants into Doge is just a bunch of AI experts and coders whose frontal lobes haven't even fully formed yet, and they're in there mushing things up. If you were serious about this, first of all, you would send in forensic accountants, and two, the Democrats have been demanding an audit on the Department of Defense for years. So that's where the biggest part of our budget goes. Okay, I'm going to take a break here. We have a new friend to talk to today. We're going to talk to, the growth of indivisible organizations across the country has exploded. And I'm excited to talk to one of the board members here, executive board member of Indivisible Illinois. Patrick Watson's about to join us on WCPT 820, Heartland Signal.
You're listening to WCPT 820. Here's the latest Chicago weather update.
From the Weatherology Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Regina Kroll. This evening, we're expecting mostly clear skies. A low of 34 will be breezy. Lighter winds Wednesday, high of 52 and mostly sunny. Passing clouds come in Wednesday night as we dip back to 38. Warmer Thursday, high of 61 and sunny. We'll see partly cloudy skies Thursday night and a low of 49. Then for Friday, mostly sunny and a high of 77. Periods of showers and storms expected Friday night, a low of 54. That's your latest Chicago weather update. Right now, it's 43 degrees.
This is Chicago's Progressive Talk, 820 AM, WCPT Willow Springs, and online at WCPT820.com, where facts matter.
The Randy Rhodes Show.
Oh, congratulations to the Fox and Friends weekend morning host, who's now our Secretary of Defense. He's a veteran, everybody. I know, I'm a veteran too. I'm pretty sure I wasn't on any of Kamala's short lists for any cabinet position, but oh my God, these picks, it's almost like, well, there's a word for it. It's called patronage. Right here, right now on WCPT 820, weekdays 7 to 9 p.m. Central Time.
Chicago's Progressive Talk, WCPT 820, where facts matter.
Hi, this is Patti Vasquez. We appreciate all our fans of Driving It Home, and your support of show sponsor Minocqua Brewing Company ensures that our important conversations continue right here on WCPT each weekday from 5 to 7 p.m. You can now find the Resistance IPA, Labor Lager, or the Resistance Pilsner beer at several Illinois locations, including Arminetti Wine and Spirits in Woodstock, Pineapple and Company in North Riverside, Lions Beverage Depot in Arlington Heights, and MP's Liquor, Wine, and Beer in North Aurora. For a full list of Chicagoland locations, please visit MinocquaBrewingCompany.com. As always, please vote and drink responsibly.
You're listening to Driving It Home with Patti Vasquez.
In your communities, in Chicago.
On WCPT 820.
Thank you so much for joining the conversation. I was talking about this announcement that was sent out to all the folks that work for the Department of Education in Washington, D.C. and regional offices. They were told that their buildings would be closed tomorrow with access forbidden. And I don't know what this means, but it doesn't sound good. And Elaine wanted to call and talk about this from Southwest Chicago. Hi, Elaine. How are you doing today? Are you hydrating?
Yes, I am. Thank you.
What's on your mind?
I was wondering, if the Department of Education shuts down, for example, my son went to DePaul. We had a Parent Plus loan through the Department of Education. Right. So what will happen to the private universities as well? Right. If they don't have students who could get loans.
Well, that's one of the things that I've been looking into as well. Well, one, they already have sort of taken staff off of the loan departments. So it's causing a lot of chaos because people, obviously if they want to make their payments on time. But you're talking about processing or even having access to apply for loans.
Right. For kids, because there is no way we could have sent our son to DePaul. No way. It wouldn't have been possible, but we got a loan so we could do it. So what I'm saying is that you're going to have all these high school seniors. How are they going to go to school if they can't get a loan?
Yeah. So let's see. The federal courts have paused the repayment program under President Biden. Let's see. They're removing. Not that. I'm trying to see if I have. So it looks as though they're trying to figure out a way to move the student loans to Treasury, Commerce, or the Small Business Administration. Is the only thing I've heard so far.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, they have to do something because a lot of people lose their jobs, including people who work in universities, because if they don't have students, how could they survive, right? I mean, they need money from tuition. I would guess.
And you said your son's going to be going to DePaul here in Chicago?
He graduated from DePaul, right? He graduated already. But,
you're saying for other kids.
We couldn't have done it otherwise. I mean, there's just no way.
Yeah, and I will say this: I know that there's a lot of people in Illinois who are fighting for this, and I hope that some of these conservatives across the country snap out of it, and I hope that their constituents continue to hold them accountable for making life so unbearable for so many people.
Right. Okay, that's all I wanted to say. But thank you for everything, and thank you for keeping us informed.
Oh, absolutely. Thank you. Doing my best, Elaine. Take care. Bye.
Thank you. You too. Bye.
And I know that a lot of folks are grateful for the work that Indivisible Illinois is doing because it's so empowering to know that you can really get to work, be in community. And joining us right now is Patrick Watson, who's executive board member of Indivisible Illinois. Thank you so much for giving me a few minutes to talk to one of our listeners.
Thank you for having us, Patty.
Oh, my pleasure. I really I collaborate as much as I can with so many different organizations, but Indivisible Illinois is one that rises, I think, because it has been there for people during the first administration under Trump, right? So what brought you to Indivisible Illinois?
Absolutely. So I initially got involved with the Obama campaign back in 2007, 2008. I was a volunteer there. I was a staff member for the Obama campaign. Got involved with a number of political campaigns after that and a number of not-for-profit organizations. And it was after the election of Donald Trump the first time. The Women's March started up. And many everyday citizens were out looking for ways to resist a lot of the policies that the Trump administration wanted to put in place. And I saw Indivisible was starting up, and I thought I need to get involved with this organization. I got involved and have been involved with Indivisible ever since. And
when you say resist, what were some of the things? Because it grew pretty quickly, but now it's exploding, right? Absolutely. You were telling me before, just every week there's 2 or 3 new groups. Every week we're seeing groups that are sprouting up all across the state. We're especially proud of all the groups that we're seeing in Central Illinois. Central Illinois was in a region where it's fairly red. There are some pockets of blue, but there weren't a lot of groups that were active in that area. But there are multiple groups that have sprouted up in that area, and they have a lot of great activities that they're planning. Are you getting any word that perhaps people who have a little bit of FAFO, a little fart around and find out, and I don't know if we have any stories yet of people wanting to come to these groups of resistance. Are you hearing any stories about that? There are definitely people that were on the other side. They may have voted a different way, and they're starting to regret that. They're starting to see some of the policies that Trump has put in place. They're starting to be affected by those, and they're starting to come around. We're starting to see them come out to events. If I was part of Indivisible, if I was at a meeting and someone said that I know a lot of, we talk sort of online and here on the show, people are like, I'm not ready to make nice. But if you're in a meeting, I got to believe that's got to be I would be cheering that person. That's brave. Absolutely. We want those people involved. Yeah. Absolutely. Even back during the campaign itself, we had a lot of people that were former Republicans that came out and actually canvassed with us even before Trump was elected himself. So we applauded those people when they came out to the events. We made space for them and welcomed them in. Well, because Indivisible Illinois or Indivisible in general doesn't mean Democrats. It's not attached to that. Right? Right. It's not attached. You can be of any political affiliation as long as you believe in respect of others. And what? This is such I don't understand the words you're saying. Sorry. Respect. As long as you believe in respect and really if you have a progressive lean on different issues. Right. And that brings me to a conversation you and I were having in the green room, which is the last 2 weeks, and not just the last 2 weeks, but we are seeing people who are trying to figure out how to use this moment, I think, opportunistically to sort of go, well, maybe progressive is not the right way to label us. And then they want to move forward and by that, they mean turn their backs on human rights. Absolutely. And that's a challenging space for me to first of all, so I'm talking specifically about former Mayor Rahm Emanuel, Governor Newsom, who went on Charlie Kirk, right? So to me, that's not the path.
No, it is absolutely not the path. We're seeing people that are attacking DEI, they're attacking various constituency groups that are vulnerable. That is absolutely not acceptable. We cannot abandon the core base of supporters, the Democratic Party. You can't abandon them in order to try to win elections. We can't do that.
Yeah, and what it has to be is defining, I think. And that's not necessarily, Indivisible Illinois doesn't need to define the message. You guys are doing the work of uplifting candidates who reflect the values that you want to see in our government.
That's absolutely right. So we're uplifting candidates. In fact, coming up on the 17th of this month, we are going to have a forum where we're going to have local candidates that reflect our values out, and we're going to talk about how people can get involved with their campaigns for those local races.
Well, and that's the other thing too is do you also participate in recruiting candidates and saying, hey, we've seen the work that you've done? Because this is a way for folks to learn more about if they've ever considered being a part of the election process, right?
Absolutely. So, in fact, we encourage our members to run for office. Mm-hmm. So individual leaders that are within Indivisible, people that are volunteering, we encourage them to run for every office because we don't want to leave any offices open without someone that reflects our values running for those offices.
That's amazing. Now, I would like to introduce you as well to the audience and, build this relationship so that whenever there is something that we need to be involved in, they're like, oh, Patrick was talking about that on the radio. So tell me about where you grew up.
Sure. So I grew up in Naperville. It's in DuPage County. I lived there for a number of years, went to high school there, went to college there, went to North Central College there. And I moved for a little bit for a few years, moved to the northwest suburbs, and now I'm actually back in Lisle.
Okay. And so you mentioned that you worked on President Obama's campaign. Were you in college, high school?
So right after I graduated from college, I graduated in 2008 from college, got involved with the campaign, worked on the campaign as a volunteer for the first time, and then I was a staffer for his reelection campaign. I worked in Illinois. Mm-hmm. I was building neighborhood teams in the northwest suburbs, and then they actually sent me down into a battleground state. They sent me to Florida.
Oh,
so I worked in the Tallahassee area.
Ooh, how was that?
It was an interesting experience. I have to say it was a good experience. We had a lot of campuses that I was in charge of. Mm-hmm. But we also had a lot of areas where people had experienced some true civil rights moments. There was one area where it was Gadsden County in the Tallahassee area. A lot of people there talked about the FBI having to come out and monitor polling locations. We had a lot of African-American elected officials that were the first elected, and they spoke about recent times where the FBI and others had to come out and conduct civil rights for the voting locations.
Which was something that, we know Greg Palast, who's done a documentary on how, millions of people have been disenfranchised from their ability to vote. And I would imagine that Florida is amongst the most offensive places to be.
Absolutely.
When it comes to,
Back during that campaign, they made it illegal for anyone that was not a registered agent of the state to register anyone to vote. So there were lawsuits against teachers. There was a teacher that had a lawsuit and a number of fines against her for registering her students. We had to be very creative, and we had to train our people. We had to get them registered with the state in order to register voters. It actually made us much more organized. Also, felons. It was almost impossible for those that had previously been felons to vote for them in order to get their rights restored. They had 2 people, I believe, that were restoring rights across the entire state, and almost no one's rights got restored.
Oh, my God. I know that there was a story, was it this past election? Or there's so much that happens that it's hard to place it on the timeline. But I believe there was because they passed a law that felons could vote, right? Once they'd served their time. And she was arrested for voting. She had served her time. She voted, and I think she was arrested for voting, even though it was legal for her to do so. But which is intimidating because then you're like, oh, well, if there's confusion over it, why would I? That's another way of disenfranchising the population.
And restricting voting rights and discouraging people from voting is one way to suppress the vote, and it's allowed one side to win in many of these states. I often believe that a lot of the states that we think of as red states would be blue states if everyone was able to vote in those states.
Yeah. Man, we're talking to Patrick Watson. He's executive board member for Indivisible. We're going to talk to him some more in just a moment. We come back on WCPT 820 Heartland Signal. And our number, by the way, if you have any questions, our number is 773-763-9278. That's also the number to text us to join the conversation. We will be right back after this on WCPT.
A Better Life with Dr. Sanjay Gupta.
Getting older can be daunting, but there are things to make your golden years just that, golden. A colleague of mine recently spoke with Deborah Whitman, the AARP's Executive Vice President and Chief Public Policy Officer. She's also the author of a new book called The Second 50. She wrote it because she couldn't find the equivalent of what to expect when you're expecting for adults who want to age healthily and happily. In the book, Whitman talks about 5 healthy habits that are going to have the most impact on how well you age. You're going to be able to guess this: exercise regularly, eat a healthy diet, maintain a healthy weight, not smoking, and drinking little to no alcohol. Now, if you can't manage all these things, the important thing is to try 1 or 2. Also, I would add, don't forget about community, being social. So important. It'll help keep your brain sharp as well. I'm Dr. Sanjay Gupta, helping you live a better life.
Millions of Americans take medicine like Ozempic and Zepbound. Many of them are overpaying by thousands of dollars a year. These GLP-1 medications for diabetes, weight loss, and more may not always be covered by your insurance, but GoodRx can help. GoodRx helps you save every month on prescriptions at over 70,000 pharmacies nationwide. Best of all, it's free to use. Check GoodRx to save on GLP-1s. Just go to GoodRx.com/GLP. That's GoodRx.com/GLP. GoodRx is not insurance, but can be used instead of insurance, including Medicare and other federal and state-funded programs.
At Lowe's, our members get more. With the My Lowe's Rewards programs, you can shop member-only deals for your home and business every week. Plus, members earn points on eligible purchases. So what are you waiting for? Join for free today. Lowe's, we help, you save. Loyalty program subject to terms and conditions. Details at lowes.com/terms. Subject to change. Free standard shipping not available in Alaska and Hawaii. Exclusions and more terms apply.
Because facts matter. You are listening to WCPT 820.
Listening to Driving It Home with Patti Vasquez on WCPT 820.
Going to take a break and give ourselves a chance to rehydrate. Patrick Watson joins us. He's a executive board member for Indivisible Illinois. I mentioned that I no longer ask people how they are because if one either forces somebody to lie, or if they're telling me they're great, then I'm very angry. What do you mean great? I mean, the anxiety is real.
The anxiety is definitely real, and we're seeing that in a lot of people.
Yeah,
people are looking for things to do. People are looking for ways that they can get involved. They're looking for ways that they can make a big difference. And that's part of the explosion we're seeing of people who are joining Indivisible groups. We're offering ways for them to make a difference. We're offering various activities, whether it's organizing a protest outside of a Tesla dealership, whether it is speaking to their member of Congress, asking their member of Congress to host in-person town halls. We know that the Republican members of Congress have been told not to meet with their constituents, so we definitely want to press them, and that's something that we will be doing. We also are asking our Democratic members of Congress to host in-person town halls. We believe that the virtual town halls isn't enough. We want them to actually meet and speak with their constituents.
Are you interested in, because I know someone was talking about how Democrats need to go to the places where the Republicans aren't showing up. Do you think it would be worthwhile, like let's say Quigley, to go to, I don't know, someplace in central Illinois?
Absolutely. I think it would. I think that people would enjoy seeing someone like Representative Quigley go to central Illinois and speak to residents there. There is a pool of people, just as I mentioned, we are seeing all of these new Indivisible groups. They're looking for someone to come in to speak to them. And in those districts, the Republican members aren't meeting with their constituents. So why not some of the Democratic members go to those districts and meet with constituents?
I think Congressman Pocan is doing that in Wisconsin, is hosting meetings. And we were going to talk to Kirk Bangstad because he is leading the charge for Indivisible groups in Madison and the surrounding areas. I also, and you mentioned, Congress folks and reaching out to them. Tell us about In District Week.
Absolutely. So in District Week, it's the week of the 15th through the 23rd. We also are going to be doing something in April as well. We're going to be urging our members of Congress to host those in-person town halls. So not only just the Republicans, but also Democrats. And many of the Democrats have and are hosting in-person town halls. I know Lauren Underwood just had a fantastic one this past weekend. She had a great town hall. It was very well attended. I know that Delia Ramirez is going to hold an in-person town hall on the 18th. Sean Caston, he's holding a town hall on the 19th. I'm excited about that one. I will be at that one myself. And we are actually hosting empty chair town halls in some of the Republican districts. We've asked them to...
Yes! Sorry, I love the name of that. Go ahead.
We've asked them to come to these town halls. They're refusing to have in-person town halls. So we're looking at organizing a number of empty chair town halls where we may ask some of the Democratic members to come and to speak in their stead if they refuse to hold town halls with their constituents. And you can find out information about those town halls on our website, actually.
And what kind of messaging are you finding to be successful in this time period? Because so my son has intellectual and physical disabilities, and so he goes to a therapeutic day school. And the day that they blockaded funding, federally funded programs, across the country, saying we want an evaluation of whether or not you're, Marxists or woke and all this kind of stuff. And the school sent us a letter saying we understand that folks might be a little bit concerned about what's going on. Like they wouldn't name it. And for me, part of it is naming. You're not doing any this fear to say because of decisions at the federal level or this White House or the president, say the thing, right?
Absolutely.
I mean, say because I think that's one of the things that's going to help break through for some folks who are intellectually uninterested in learning more.
And that's exactly right. We have to talk with people about how this is affecting them in their day-to-day lives. So, for example, we have a phone bank where we are making calls into Mary Miller's district, and we're talking with constituents about how these cuts are going to affect them. We're talking about the cuts to Medicare and Medicaid. We're talking about the cuts to insulin in her district. That's what we're doing with these phone banks, and we're doing that in districts all across the state.
I love this so much. It's taking the game to them.
Absolutely.
And I know you guys have been doing this. It's just for whatever reason, the tsunami of, the post debate last year. We're not going to retread anything, but it's just that was so loud. I think now that people's lives are being so directly impacted, whether it's their 401ks or farmers who are no longer getting grants, even in I don't know if people realize in Chicago, there was funding for the Asian carp and that had to stop. So now there's nothing to it wasn't just research. It was also the way in which we manage this, this breed of fish that doesn't belong in our waterways. It's now going to, not just in Illinois, but it's going to all the way downriver.
Absolutely. And that's exactly what we have to do. We have to talk with people about how this is affecting them personally. I'm glad you mentioned the farmers. That's something else that we're talking with people about in central and southern Illinois. We're talking about the cuts to funding and grants for farms. This is something that's impacting them in a big way, and we have to keep talking with constituents all across the state and all across the country about these things. And I'm hoping that we get more Democratic members of Congress to speak about this. When we're speaking with our members of Congress, we're asking them to be much more vocal, and many of them have. They've been vocal. We're seeing them start to go onto some of the right-wing media outlets and have these conversations.
Yeah, I mean, I think Ducey in the press conference today was was starting to say these tariffs are fundamentally hurting people.
Absolutely.
So that's kind of interesting that it's making its way. I mean, it does have to be constantly reminded, because in Alabama, their energy prices were going up like $100, $600, and the energy company that provides the connection for folks sent out a letter saying saying the thing.
Absolutely. I just saw a clip, actually, of Congressman Krishnamurthy. I don't know if you saw the press conference where they called Mayor Johnson to D.C. to actually speak. I was very, very proud of how Congressman Krishnamurthy pushed back against those members. He pushed back quite hard in the clip. He defended Chicago. He defended the state of Illinois. And he really took it to President Trump on the rising costs.
And that's what you guys are doing, is taking the fight to them. Because, this idea that people always say that we don't fight, we don't have rage. I'm like, I got a lot of rage. But we just have to be focused, and it takes everybody, which is why we're encouraging folks to join your Indivisible organization. So how do folks connect with the Indivisible groups in their neighborhoods?
Absolutely. So they can find out about us, and they can find out about any Indivisible group across the state by going to our website, which is Indivisible.Illinois.org. If they go to the site, they'll see all of our events. They will also find out how they can get connected with a local Indivisible chapter. Whether they are in Chicago, they can connect with the Indivisible Chicago Alliance and connect with a group within the Chicago area. If they are in Central Illinois, they can connect with the groups in Central Illinois. If they're in the collar counties, they can connect with the group in the collar counties. There are groups all across the state.
And then for folks who might be listening all over the country, there's a national landing page for them too.
That's right. If they go to indivisible.com, they can connect with all Indivisible groups all across the country. There is a map that's active, and they can connect with any Indivisible group anywhere within the country.
And you guys are doing, everything. We talked about phone banking. Are you getting involved in some of the races? Like, I've been door knocking in Wisconsin for Judge Susan Crawford's race in the Supreme Court.
Absolutely. So various groups across the state have been going to Wisconsin the entire time. They're going every weekend. In fact, Indivisible Illinois, we've got 2 days of action that are coming up. So we're going to be going this weekend, the 15th. We're going to be going from Naperville and other locations across the state. People can also meet us directly in Wisconsin. You can find information about that on our website as well, Indivisible.Illinois.org. We also are going to be going on the 22nd as well. Those are the 2 big days of action for us, where we're going to try to push as many people as possible to go to Wisconsin for that Supreme Court race. It is very, very vital.
Do you have any specific towns in Wisconsin you know that you're focusing on?
So we're likely going to Milwaukee. We're just waiting to see what's the greatest need. We want to go where there is the greatest need on those weekends.
Right.
So we'll have more details on that shortly, but it's likely the Milwaukee area.
Yeah, and by the way, folks, I went door knocking with Indivisible and Swing State, Operation Swing State, a couple weeks ago in Milwaukee, and it was so much fun to go door knocking in Wisconsin. And Milwaukee is important, I believe, because you need bigger voter turnout, and you have a bigger bang for your buck if it's consolidated.
That's absolutely right.
Because let me tell you something, door knocking in Walworth is fun, but when you're driving down Bob's Road and you're like, it takes you 5 minutes to go from the county road to his door, you're like, I don't think we're being very efficient right here.
That's very true. We were up canvassing during the campaign. Back during the fall, the presidential campaign, we were there every weekend as well, canvassing, and it was definitely much easier when we were canvassing in Milwaukee.
Yes. By the way, did you ever have a chance to stop at the Brat Stop? That's my favorite place.
I did not. I heard a lot about it.
People go to the Mars Cheese Castle. I'm saying don't sleep on the Brat Stop. You can stop at the Mars Cheese Castle too, but I'm just saying, gotta go to the Brat. It's so good. They have a sampler platter if you like brats.
Absolutely. And for folks that can't canvas, we're doing carpool canvases up, so we'll pair people up. We'll pair drivers up with riders and riders with drivers to drive up. For people that can't go, we actually are phone banking for Susan Crawford. We're doing that every Sunday. It's from 4 to 5:30. We've got a phone bank. It's on a dialer, so there will be an auto dialer. There'll always be someone that will answer the phone. We're doing that every Sunday. We also are doing that on Wednesday along with the Chicago Alliance as well. So if they're interested in phone banking, they can phone bank with us as well.
Excellent. We're going to learn more about Indivisible Illinois with Patrick Watson, Executive Board Member, in just a moment. And I'll be joined by Kirk Bangstad shortly as well. More after this.
Attention all listeners, financial planners, CPAs, and divorce attorneys. If you're wondering why your loan officer hasn't returned your calls, it's probably because they're one of the over 165,000 loan officers who didn't renew their license over the past 24 months. If you're purchasing a new home or refinancing your existing home, call Team Hochberg, your trusted local lender who's still in business. While mortgage companies have been shutting down and loan officers are leaving the business over the past 2 years, Team Hochberg has been adding loan officers, is stronger than ever, and would love to earn your business. Let's review. Hundreds of mortgage companies have closed and over 165,000 loan officers exited the mortgage business, while Team Hochberg has expanded and is stronger than ever. If you'd like to work with experienced mortgage professionals who will appreciate your business, call Team Hochberg now, 855-563-2843, or visit 56david.com, 855-563-2843, or 56david.com. Lower.com, equal housing lender, MLS 112-4061.
If better health, more energy, and detoxing your body are some of your priorities this year, get Active Liver today. You can find Active Liver in stores at your local CVS or online at Amazon or NewNordicUSA.com.
AP News, I'm Ben Thomas. The President Trump's pulled back his threat to double steel and aluminum tariffs on Canada. Sagar Magani has details.
It's the latest dizzying twist in the president's trade war with America's northern neighbor. This morning, the president said he'd double the tariffs to 50% starting tomorrow. That was after Ontario Premier Doug Ford planned to boost a surcharge on electricity sold to the U.S. But hours later,
he's not going to do that. And it would have been a very bad thing if he did.
Ford pulled down the threat, telling CTV it came after talking with Trump's commerce chief.
We have both agreed. Let cooler heads prevail.
The president's trade advisor now says doubling of the steel and aluminum tariffs is off the table for now, though 25% tariffs will start tomorrow. The drama has led to sharp stock market drops and fears of a recession. But
I don't see it at all.
The president says tariffs are vital for changing the American economy, even if the stock market goes on a ride as a result. Sagar Magani, Washington.
Stocks did fall further today. The Dow dropped 1.1%, the S&P 0.8%, the Nasdaq 0.2%. The House has passed a bill to avert a partial government shutdown and fund federal agencies through September. It now moves to the Senate, where bipartisan support will be needed for passage. After a meeting in Saudi Arabia, the U.S. is lifting its suspension of military aid and intelligence sharing with Ukraine, while Ukraine said it was open to a 30-day ceasefire in the war with Russia. John Gambrell has more.
While the intelligence sharing and the military aid returning to Ukraine is major for Kyiv, the real question remains just how Putin and the rest of the Russian government is going to react to the ceasefire and whether the guns could stop firing in this bloody conflict.
And word that the Education Department plans to lay off 1,300 employees. This is AP News. Polls have opened in Greenland for parliamentary elections.
The self-governing region of Denmark has a population of 56,000 and has been on a path toward independence since at least 2009. But President Trump has made clear he wants Greenland to join the U.S.
I think we're going to get it. One way or the other, we're going to get it.
Opinion polls show most Greenlanders, including Sebastian Rosing, favor independence over Donald Trump's rhetoric.
It's very unserious, like it's ridiculous. But his continued efforts claiming it, it's quite worrying.
Trump says Greenland is in a strategic position and it contains rare earth minerals. Jorgen Bosen is a fan of Donald Trump, but he also wants independence.
We are second-class people in our country, so we should become a state.
Votes are being cast at a single polling station in Greenland's capital city. I'm Ed Donahue.
And I'm Ben Thomas, AP News. Thanks for listening.
This is 820 AM, WCPT Willow Springs, and streaming worldwide at WCPT820.com. We are Chicago's progressive talk, where facts matter. Now, your WCPT 820 weather update.
From the Weatherology Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Regina Kroll. This evening, we're expecting mostly clear skies. A low of 34 will be breezy. Lighter winds Wednesday, high of 52 and mostly sunny. Passing clouds come in Wednesday night as we dip back to 38. Warmer Thursday, high of 61 and sunny. We'll see partly cloudy skies Thursday night and a low of 49. Then for Friday, mostly sunny and a high of 77. Periods of showers and storms expected Friday night, a low of 54. That's your latest Chicago weather update. Right now, it's 43 degrees.
Progressive Home Quote Explorer lets you easily compare rates, so shopping for insurance might be the easiest part of owning a home. Definitely easier than this.
Psst, honey. Honey! What? Shh, there's a salesman walking up the driveway.
Oh, no, he's got a clipboard.
What do we do?
Get down.
Down?
On the floor, you...
Shoot, did he see us?
Why are you breathing so loud?
Home ownership isn't easy, but with Progressive's Home Quote Explorer, shopping for home insurance is. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates and third-party insurers. Comparison rates not available in all states or situations. Prices vary based on how you buy.
My mom has decided to learn to paint, and she's good.
My dad's now into creative cuisine, and I've already put on 6 pounds.
Learning new things comes with age.
My mom, she started forgetting my name and what we're talking about.
Forgetting well-known things doesn't. Memory loss may be a sign of Alzheimer's disease. Early detection gives you and your loved one time to plan for the future. Learn the warning signs of Alzheimer's at 10signs.org. Brought to you by the Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council.
Hey Google, play WCPT.
Streaming Chicago's progressive talk from TuneIn.
Driving it home with Patti Vasquez, Patti Vasquez.
Driving it home with Patti Vasquez.
Thank you so much for joining us as we continue to drive it home. I am your host, Patti Vasquez, and we want to say hello to our friends listening in the evenings on KTNF AM 950 Minneapolis, St. Paul, the progressive voice of Minnesota. And we want to thank our sponsors. We have Pete and Warren. Their podcast is going to be a standalone piece, so you can check that out when it's up on heartlandsignal.com, because we had a great conversation about solar panels. Make sure you visit source.solar and find out about making an appointment. Over 100,000 satisfied customers. We want to thank our friends at Are You Really Winning? You can go to areyoureallywinning.com and learn more about March Gambling Awareness Month. If you or someone you know is struggling with a gambling problem, visit areyoureallywinning.com or call 1-800-GAMBLER. And we want to thank our friends at Minocqua Brewing Company, which, as a matter of fact, the fearless leader, Kirk Bangstad, joined us on the air from Madison. Are you in Madison right now, my friend?
I am, Patty. Great to hear from you.
Thank you so much. I want to tell you, I was so excited about our last broadcast from the tap room, and I know since then you have really been doing a lot of work with, Resistance Central. Is it called Resistance Central? What's the headquarters? What are we doing?
It's the Nerve Center. We announced we're going to open a Resistance Nerve Center in Madison. Nerve Center just sounds kind of sexy, but it basically is going to be a bar. We've got extra space in our tap room, and people don't really start drinking until later on in the day, and so we're going to be open from 11 to 4 Monday through Friday, and we're going to be doing a lot of resistance stuff, which I can get into.
Sure.
But we're starting all that in Wisconsin, and I'm really excited about it.
Well, I want to introduce you because I know you're working with a lot of indivisible groups throughout Wisconsin. We have in studio with us executive board member Patrick Watson with Indivisible Illinois. Patrick, Kirkpatrick. Oh, that sounds like a good name. Anyway, hi, go ahead.
It is nice to meet you, Kirk.
Hey, nice to meet you, Patrick, Kirkpatrick.
So we've been talking about the resistance and all the work that they're doing here in Illinois, and one of the things that I know is so prominent is the fact that the Republicans are not showing up at their town halls, or they're not going to be doing that anymore. And Patrick was talking about how they're recruiting elected Democrats to go into those areas. Are you doing something similar in Wisconsin? I think Mark Pocan did this.
Yeah, Mark Pocan just did it in Belmont, which is where we actually had it's in the close to the 3rd district in like the Driftless region where Derek Van Orden is a representative. So he's done that, and that's a tactic that we are quickly organizing around. I think Indivisible's founders, Ezra, and I can't remember the other one, may have read the same. Leah, may have read the same paper that I read by Harvard Kennedy School professors Chenoweth and Marks, and a lot of the stuff that I'm hearing from Indivisible, and that's why I've been calling them and wanting to fold into Indivisible Wisconsin, is that one of the best tactics when you're kind of in an authoritarian regime. One of the, what you got to do is, if the rule of law doesn't matter anymore, or it's very tenuous, you got to get people back on your side. You got to convince the folks that voted for Trump that they made a terrible mistake, and you have to get them back on your side for some sort of uprising. And so, doing that is the first kind of tactic that seemingly, resistance movements throughout history after World War II, is to monitor, document, and disseminate, video of government doing bad things. And so, Mark Pocan going to a Republican, town hall, or showing up at a Republican town hall, or a heavily MAGA Moms for Liberty school board meeting, and taking video and showing the crazy, showing the lies, showing the crazy is something that we are about to embark on. And we just we've got a great, it's called bird dogging, in the political parlance. You follow around all the bad actors and you make their lives miserable by following them around so they don't do bad things because they know they're being videoed. And you document what they're doing and you show it to people so that because at the end of the day, our news media is folded, right? Our corporate news, we don't have investigative journalists anymore in Wisconsin. Even the Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel's got like 3 political beat reporters left, for the whole state. So you gotta do this now. Unfortunately, we have to be investigative journalists as citizens, and we have to capture these guys doing bad things, and we have to figure out ways to disseminate that to the public and to voters so that they know, that we can get some of these Trump voters back on our side.
Kirk, you've mentioned this before, and Patrick, I'm wondering, because we all can be a journalist now with just a phone in our hands. Are you guys having those conversations about like when you see something, not when you see something, say something, when you see something, record it?
Absolutely. We are having those conversations, and we are having bird dog training with volunteers on how they can record various things, whether they're going to a town hall or if they're going to a Republican county meeting.
I love all of this. Amazing. Go ahead.
Yeah. So the thing about the way where I'm coming from is this kind of big article that was written 2 years ago or study, and it said you have to fold into a national framework. And Wisconsin, unfortunately, is not the most important state, other than every 4 years when we become the most important state. For presidential elections. But we know, in Wisconsin, the really bad stuff, that's coming down probably, after Kash Patel fires all the good FBI agents and hires the bad FBI agents, where is that going to come first? Well, probably Chicago, New York, LA, San Francisco. They'll start doing bad stuff in major cities. We might not experience that as quickly as maybe other states might, but the goal is to get a very functional organization of volunteers and citizen activists who are not only doing the bird dogging stuff, but are doing the coordinated non-cooperation, which is, the other thing that you do, hopefully with union, union cooperation. You can't be violent because they'll use that against you and they'll hurt you. So coordinated non-cooperation is a way, another tactic that you got to do. You got to shut down the economy, bring the economy to its knees until they stop hurting you, or that type of thing. And so these are the things that you got to, that these are, we're not talking about this stuff at the moment. I mean, like protesting Teslas is great because it shines a spotlight and hurts Musk, where he might not want to be hurt, financially. But the next couple steps, the proactiveness of the tactics you got to use, with the understanding that we might not have free and fair elections in 2026. Those are the types of things that you got to kind of think beyond so that we can be proactive and not just be reactive to all the horrible things happening to us right now.
Yeah, that's the thing is that we have to be getting ahead of it, and that's why I love the idea of bird dogging. And I was telling Patrick that, we have to say the things, right? Which is really putting out there, whether it's explaining to folks. I wish that every organization that is being negatively impacted, as we see now, they're going to probably fire 1,300 Department of Education employees tomorrow, is what it looks like. Did you see this story? They're going to close the buildings.
Yep.
Right. So I don't know how we get this done, but Patrick was saying they're making the phone calls and letting people know, whether it's farmers or parents, know that your life is being impacted this way because of these choices, right? You can't get around the truth. Is what we need to make it so incredibly, not just even obvious. We just got to keep throwing it out there, I guess. I don't know. It's a lot.
Well, so you probably read the article that, the House just passed the continued resolution to keep the government going, but you're going to have cooperation from Senate Democrats in order to keep the government going. And, to me, and I haven't thought it through wonderfully yet, but the coordinated non-cooperation means you don't let the government run until you get assurances that DOJ is dismantled.
Yeah.
You know, and you get assurances that nobody else will be fired. You know, like if Democrats pass the continued resolution, then they're just like seemingly they're playing politics with fire, because only more terrible things are going to happen. So we have to do big things early so that we don't get hurt worse. It's like ripping a Band-Aid off, you know? Like it hurts at the beginning, and people are not used to this. We've grown up in a time with relative peace, right? But huge bad things are happening every day, and you know, moving quickly to do big things to counteract that, I think, is what we have to do. And that's why, you know, I'm working. I'm you know, a national organization has to lead this. It can't just be in certain states. And so when I did my research to figure out who is capable of having the national kind of backbone to do big things, it's either the Democratic Party or Indivisible is what I kind of come to the conclusion. And the Democratic Party is great, but it's got a lot of baggage, and it's hard to recruit young people. You know, and Indivisible doesn't have that baggage. So that's why we are, you know, actively trying to, you know, coordinate with a bunch of different Indivisible chapters in Wisconsin.
It's amazing, Patrick. I mean, what are your thoughts on everything Kirk is sharing?
I think that's absolutely true, and I think that's a great space for Indivisible, and that's exactly what we're doing. We're trying to recruit people in to resist a lot of these things that the party itself may not quite be ready to do yet. And we're going to continue to do that.
Keep pushing them.
We're going to keep pushing
us. I mean, that's the thing is, I think that some of our listeners have even been texting in that we took a lot for granted, and you know, you don't want to be the frog. A lot of us were the frog in the boiling water. You know, we got warmed up, and that's what I think Kirk is also saying is, like, if you sit in the pot too long, well, then we're done. We can't. Yeah, we can't be immobile anymore. We have to be mobilized. And go ahead, Kirk.
So just like, you know, an example of where the Democratic Party is. I mean, obviously, you know, I want the Democratic Party to succeed. You know, I want it to succeed. But an example of where they're at is you have a lot of elected officials who who still believe that if they just sit and do nothing, that Trump will just screw the economy up so badly, and that, you know, that people they'll win in 2026. So there's this mentality where it's just let him be a fool and we'll win, you know. But that I don't think that the majority of the elected Democrats, at least in Wisconsin in the state legislature, you know, are really thinking that we might not have free and fair elections if we just sit by in the next 2 years. You know, and I think that mentality hasn't quite settled in to a lot of the kind of the mainstream Democrats quite yet.
Are you hearing that frustration, Patrick? The what was Carville said, the possum tactic, I guess?
We are hearing that from a lot of volunteers. We've been hearing it for quite some time. People are dissatisfied with a lot of our elected officials' positions on these, and that they're not pushing back hard enough. So part of what we're doing when we're meeting with these elected officials we are asking them to push back harder and to not vote for these things.
Yeah. I mean, at the very least, baseline. I want them in there with their hair on fire. I mean, not literally, like your hair's on fire.
And we were especially disappointed in some of the cabinet members that were voted for. I think there was some remorse from some of those Senate members after they voted for them, and they saw that those cabinet members didn't resist Trump on some of the more extreme positions.
Yeah, and the other thing was the vote to censure Congressman Al Green. Like, what are we doing here?
Very disappointing.
That's not solidarity. And I don't know. Everyone get up, go with him. That's how you also show resistance. I mean, like, here's the thing. Who cares what they call you or what they say about you afterwards? They're never going to be nice. Right? Go ahead, Kirk.
So, you know, that Tim Snyder guy, I think that's his first name, you know, he wrote On Tyranny. and he's kind of, he's been saying, this book, he's a Yale professor of history, and if you haven't heard of him before, he's been calling this stuff out like years ago. But one of his main things that he says needs to be done is that the Democrats in the House and the Senate need to create a shadow government. So every time Trump does something, they hold their own press conference and they say, this is what a normal country would do in this category, and this is what he's doing. And you have like the same cabinet level positions in a shadow government where everyone has they say exactly the opposite. And so if Trump does another State of the Union, nobody shows up. You have your own State of the Union as Democrats because this is what a normal, non-crazy fascist country is, and you don't come with stupid little pink signs, and you don't sneer. You just don't involve. You just don't be part of it because it's authoritarianism, and you have to show them, and the news will follow 100 Democrats into another room, and will tape you, and we'll run some sort of simultaneous commentary.
Yeah.
So these are the things that I'm certainly, I am who I am in Wisconsin, but I'm seeing us not take strong enough stands in so many different ways. And I think that void is only being filled by Bernie, who's traveling around the country right now and in Republican districts and telling people that he's feeding, at least in Wisconsin, he came to Kenosha, like 4,000 people showed up, because somebody needs to fill this void.
Yeah, absolutely. What do you have coming up? What should folks know about visiting Nerve Center, the Nerve Central for Indivisible, for Resistance?
So currently we are power mapping. Power mapping is figure out who your enemies are. Asset mapping is figuring out who your friends are. Coordinating strategies based on that stuff. And so we're kind of doing some high level strategy stuff right now. And we are, Indivisible's hiring a statewide coordinator for Wisconsin because Wisconsin's blowing up right now. So we're trying to fold in, but we're moving a little faster than Indivisible is right now in Wisconsin. And we are having a Zoom call tomorrow at 7 for all the folks who we're doing a weekly Zoom call on Wednesdays. And you can just check the Minocqua Brewing Company Facebook page to get that link. And then we've recruited about 300 volunteers so far, specifically for this bird dogging stuff around the state. And so we're gonna be training them, just like sounds like you guys are doing in Illinois. We're gonna be training people how to take video, how to resist intimidation, and that type of thing throughout the next week, and so that we can start going to some of these, Republican congressmen listening sessions or fake listening sessions or whatever, and actually start getting video out there so people can become more aware of what's going on.
Awesome. And we are broadcasting from the Minocqua Brewing Company tap room in Madison on March 25th. I look forward to as much as I love broadcasting there, also I need to get dinner at Sardines again. I'm just saying, that place, I'm addicted. But at any rate, also my home away from home hazy IPA is one of my favorites, and I encourage folks to stop by the tap room and get involved. Go to MinocquaBrewingCompany.com and sign up for the newsletter. Check out all the work that we're doing there, and I appreciate you making me a part of that family, Kirk. It's been a lot of fun writing those. Fun, by fun, I mean, oh my God, it's 2 a.m. I'm still writing this thing.
You're doing a great job. You had a wonderful piece a couple days ago, Patty, and people are so thankful that you're one of the voices that they get to read every day, or every week at least, coming from our email list. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much. Thank you for everything you're doing, and I'll get you and Patrick together at some point. I'm sure we'll have some sort of event where we all get to collaborate and keep this fight going. Thank you for everything, Kirk.
You're welcome. Take care.
Have a great night. I'll talk to you soon. Bye. That's, of course, the sponsor of the Driving It Home with Patti Vasquez. He's been our longest sponsor and supporter, so grateful for the work that he's doing. Let me take a break here. I want to continue talking to Patrick, who's executive board member with Indivisible Illinois. Go to indivisible.illinois.org for information about how to connect with a group in your community. More after this on WCPT 820 Heartland Signal and KTNF AM 950 Minneapolis, St. Paul.
St. Patrick's Day begins March 10th at Max and Benny's restaurant in Northbrook. Don't wait until March 17th to get your North Shore's best corned beef and cabbage. Stop in beginning March 10th for lunch or dinner. Dine in or carry out. Meals come with red potatoes and carrots. Max and Benny's has catered meal packages to take out or eat in. You can go to maxandbennys.com to check out their special St. Patrick's Day menu. And don't forget, Max and Benny's special decorated cookies for St. Patrick's Day. Max and Benny's, open 7 days a week for great deli, soups, sandwiches, and dinners. Max and Benny's does catering with fish, deli, and delicious homemade dessert trays. Max and Benny's also has a special event space for over 100 people for catered events, parties, and special occasions. And Max and Benny's is your headquarters for all your Passover meals and Seders. Call Max and Benny's today to reserve your space for St. Patrick's Day. 847-272-9490. That's 847-272-9490.
A tree can be a warrior, battling global challenges with greater courage. A tree can be a solution, cleaning our air, supporting our communities, and protecting our wildlife. A tree can be noble, growing hope in every corner of the world. That's why now is the time for trees. Millions of trees. Join our planting movement at arborday.org.
Hi, I'm Martha Stewart. Every year, more than 4 million pets enter shelters here in the United States. My friends at American Humane have been helping animals since 1877. The goal is to ensure that pets have a safe shelter, especially during natural disasters. Adopting a shelter pet allows shelters to help more animals awaiting care. Please consider adopting today and take some time to learn more about American Humane's other work at americanhumane.org.
Hey Google, play WCPT.
Streaming Chicago's progressive talk from TuneIn.
You're listening to Driving It Home with Patti Vasquez.
There's so much that goes on behind closed doors.
On WCPT 820.
Thank you so much for joining us as we continue to drive it home. We're in studio with Patrick Watson.
Yes.
One of the executive board members for Indivisible Illinois. Let's come back to your start with this organization, because so you essentially have been active in politics, campaigning for 17 years. That's a lot.
It's been a long time, and it's been there've been ups and downs.
Sure.
It's been rewarding, though. I enjoy empowering individuals to make a difference in their community. There's nothing better than seeing someone that didn't quite know how to get involved to leading teams within their community, and many of them have gone on to run for office. It's very rewarding.
That's great. I love that. I know that, as you mentioned, there's been some ups and downs. How surprised were you on election night? Because I mean, the part of it is that we know we left it all on the battlefield, right? There was no gas left in the tank. I wanted it to be an undeniable victory, and I maybe was not listening to any of the right polling or anything like that. What went through your mind, like, as the numbers were coming in?
There were definitely warning signs.
There were
all along. I was shocked, though. I was more shocked than I was in 2016 at the results of that election.
Yeah.
But there were definitely warning signs. And there just wasn't enough time. I would say if it came down to anything, there just wasn't enough time in the race for us to dig out of the hole that we were in.
Gotcha. That makes sense. And I think, because I was thinking about this yesterday, because we're living it now, right? That night, I was having a hard time sleeping because I knew I needed to get ready, but imagining what I was getting ready for was paralyzing. Right. And so I think right now what people need to do is not be paralyzed. I don't react to every single news story is what I mean. Right. How do you do it?
So you can't react to every news story. That's exactly what they're trying to do. They're trying to overload us with the news stories. Mm-hmm. That's why he has press conferences every day. And it's always something controversial or wacky that he's announcing every single day.
Yeah.
He's trying to paralyze us. What we have to do is we have to focus on what we know that we need to focus on and continue to push that.
I don't like it. The morning I woke up to a press conference where he was blaming DEI for the massive loss of life in a plane crash and helicopter that the people in our military were involved in. I was like, this feels surreal.
Absolutely. It did. And I noticed there wasn't a lot of pushback against it when it happened. That was the most disappointing for me. So it's something that we've definitely talked with others about and talked with our elected officials about. We need them to push back when they hear that kind of language, when we hear them attacking minority communities, when they're attacking women, when they're attacking the LGBTQ community. We need them to push back.
Yeah, I agree. Do you want to hang out? We've got some calls coming in about some topics. It might not be indivisible, but I want to hear what some of our listeners are talking about.
Sure.
Appreciate that. We're hanging out with Patrick Watson, executive board member for Indivisible Illinois. Go to indivisible.illinois.org and join the team. Get in there, roll your sleeves up, whether it's phone banking, whether it's learning how to bird dog, learning how to be your own journalist. I think I know it takes a long time to be brave enough to turn the camera on and, basically catalog, broadcast, teach people what's happening in real time. And we'll talk more about that when we come back on WCPT 820 Heartland Signal and KTNF AM 950 Minneapolis, St. Paul, the progressive voice of Minnesota.
You're listening to WCPT 820. Here's the latest Chicago weather update.
From the Weatherology Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Regina Kroll. This evening, we're expecting mostly clear skies. A low of 34 will be breezy. Lighter winds Wednesday, high of 52 and mostly sunny. Passing clouds come in Wednesday night as we dip back to 38. Warmer Thursday, high of 61 and sunny. We'll see partly cloudy skies Thursday night and a low of 49. Then for Friday, mostly sunny and a high of 77. Periods of showers and storms expected Friday night, a low of 54. That's your latest Chicago weather update. Right now, it's 43 degrees.
This is Chicago's Progressive Talk, 820 AM, WCPT Willow Springs, and online at WCPT820.com, where facts matter.
Hey Progressives, this is Richard Chu, host of Chu's Views here on WCPT AM 820, 6 to 8 a.m. Monday through Friday. We have some real challenges in front of us as a country. Since the beginning of this show, I have always felt compelled to bring you the best that I've got. Now, there's always a why to doing whatever we do. So, as we go forward and face these challenges, know this, you listeners are my why. Because I want to make sure I do everything I can to provide a safe, open, forward-moving space that allows you to call, email, text, or just listen to a guy that wants to help you bring out your own championship qualities to truly make this place better for us all. Lofty goal, idealistic, maybe so. But that's my why, and I look forward to bringing you the best that I've got. This is Richard Chu. Stay tuned.
The impact of a meal goes well beyond feeding our bodies, because feeling full can sound like this.
How did the interview go?
I did it! I got the job! I can't believe it!
And like this.
Mom, I got first place at the science fair with my volcano project.
That's amazing, sweetie. Congratulations.
Because when people are fed, futures are nourished, and everyone deserves to live a full life. Join the movement to end hunger at feedingamerica.org/act now. Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
WCPT 820, Chicago's Progressive Talk, where facts matter.
If you're listening to this station right now, you've definitely heard my voice before. Hi, I'm Hawk.
And I'm Pete. And we're with Source Solar, your local source for solar. Source Solar is Chicagoland's premier solar installer, providing solutions for over 1,000 homeowners and business owners across Illinois and Iowa.
With over a decade of industry experience and deep roots here in Chicago, we have the expertise to help your transition to clean, renewable, resilient energy.
We can guarantee that we save you money day one without any out-of-pocket cost to you. This means you have an instant ROI, instant payback, and can save money to add to your bottom line day one.
At Source Solar, we source everything as local as possible, meaning we always carry the Made in USA sticker.
Find us online at www.source.solar. Stop in our office at 5710 North Northwest Highway or give us a call at 773-985-3992.
And don't forget to ask for Hawk
or Pete.
Patti Vasquez is taking your calls now at 773-763-9278. Driving it home with Patti Vasquez now on WCPT 820.
Thank you so much for joining us as we continue to drive it home. I'm joined in studio by executive board member of Indivisible Illinois, Patrick Watson. And we were talking a little bit off the air when we talk about going into these districts where Republicans refuse to have town halls. So if these cuts come through or if they eliminate the Department of Education, we need to let those people that voted for Trump in Illinois know they need to know why things are changing.
Absolutely. That has to be a rapid response. It's something we'll do via phone banks. We'll do via the press and in public meetings with individuals within those districts.
Right. So, for example, in Centralia, which is in Jefferson County, Illinois, the percent of federal funding that they get is 51%. For at the federal level, and that's for grades K through 8. So some of these districts, have like maybe only an elementary school, and they have to send them to a different municipality for high school and things like that. So that in that district, they get 51% of their money to support the schools is 51% is from the federal government. So there you go.
That'll have a big impact.
Yeah, that will have a big impact. I mean, and all of these are in red. It's all because people think of Chicago as being the drain. Right. So let's say in Tams, which is in Alexander County, that would be 39.4% is coming from the federal government. In Knox County, that would be 38. I'm just saying this is from the Illinois State Board of Education and how much federal funding is going to if it's removed, because they think they're going to save all this money, but you then are having this disproportionately negative impact on the community.
Absolutely.
Right now, where are you going to send your kids to school? How big are these classrooms going to be? There's kids. There are over 294,000 students with IEPs who will no longer have protections in the state of Illinois if the Department of Education is eliminated.
Wow.
So what I would say is congratulations, folks. You did it to yourselves. Do you ever think? When we talk about, we have to resist, when we talk to our electeds at the state level, and I don't know how much backbone there is to just, because there's always this argument about how Chicago's a drain and it costs us so much. But when you talk about like Mary Miller's district, I mean, could legislators in Springfield be like, you know what? We're not going to divert any money to Mary Miller's district. Your community needs to tell her that what's hurting them really is the federal level.
We wouldn't want to hurt residents of that district.
That's fair. Okay, I see what you're saying. I see what you're saying. I'm like, yeah, you're right. Fine. Fine. Sorry. I know there's a lot, as you mentioned, there's a lot of folks who are, and look, not just that, but we know like with Dirt Road Dem, Jess Piper, that there are people in rural communities who are so appalled at what's going on. So,
absolutely.
Fine. But the thing is that we all have to find out. Why are we didn't fart around. You and I did not fart around.
It's true.
And we're still finding out. I do not like this phase of the FAFO. Dave in Hoffman Estates, you're on with me and Patrick Watson. What's on your mind, my friend?
Hey, Patty. Hi, Patrick. Thanks for taking the call, Patty. This one's an important one. I was reading last night on this Trump's with these cuts to social services in the country's Veterans Crisis Line, or he's destaffing the suicide hotline. Saying that there's like an estimated 800 to 900 of the 1,130 crisis line workers have always worked remotely. So ending remote work options will further undermine staffing. And the current data shows that an average of 17.6 veteran suicides per day. Suicide remains the second leading cause of death among veterans under 45 years old. And the staff reports that the service fields 60,000 calls a month. That blew me away when I read that. About for the suicide, and now he's going to cut away and fewer staff. They're already suffering from burnout. Undermines the work. As callers already at high risk for suicide will face longer wait times and improper care. So it's sorry to bring that up, but it has to be said, that these guys are just cruel with their,
right.
No heart, just cruel.
It really
and
is.
They supposedly care for the veteran.
I know.
This is unconscionable.
You know what's interesting about this? The whole, we knew all along, right, that no matter how much pain was inflicted, the cult was still going to be like, well, what about this? There's still a lot of whataboutism, right, when it comes to egg prices, right? He literally said, shut up about egg prices, right? After saying he was going to bring down the price on day one. And then you get people on my page who are like, well, Biden, killed millions of chickens because the procedure and the policy of the USDA is, what are you going to do with chickens that are infected with a virus? It's not treatable. So are you going to give them a robe and some chicken soup? Like there's not a way to heal the chickens, unfortunately, however this spread. And by the way, since he's been in office, if we're going to say that Biden killed chickens, Trump has killed 15 million chickens in 2 months. So we'll make it make sense. And
let's go one more important. How many millions did Trump kill?
Yeah.
Between the COVID and then...
Yeah. Back to the veterans, by the way, there's a guy on my page who was like, so what do you want to support veterans their entire lives? That's kind of the promise that we make, first of all. And then someone on my page was like, I'll bet you never served. And this guy's like, no, I've served. And he says that
served at a Denny's probably.
Well said.
I mean, how could a creep be that unthinking?
Yeah.
I mean, these people took an oath. For people they didn't even know.
Right. Yeah. I know.
What a creep. Listen, you're getting me cooking right now, girl, so I'm going to... But, that means a lot to me with veterans. And I just felt I had to get that out there. And
I'm so sorry.
But, yeah, I mean, we got to get this word to our representatives to start squeezing. This ain't right.
Veterans are planning a march to defend the Constitution. Veterans are planning a march on Washington, D.C. It's set to take place on March 14th. Just so you know. So that's coming up this weekend. Right?
Okay.
Or Friday. That's Friday? Yes.
That'd be Friday, yeah.
Yeah. So I'll be interested to see how many people are showing up because, as we mentioned, they're planning on pretty much firing 83,000 veterans.
Right. They want to get it back down to around the 2019 staffing. And they were already, even with these ones they've had, they're still understaffed.
Right.
I was over there today by the VA bringing, magazines and stuff for them. And my brother-in-law, he volunteers over at the hospital, and on a Thursdays and that. Then he said some of these guys, they're very worried. The ones that are workers,
Sure.
full-time workers, because 30% of them are veterans, so that they're going to be maybe get the thumb, you're gone.
Right.
So, and he said that the pantries, he said before there used to be stuff left. He said there's nothing. Looked like locusts been going through it. He said, the people are hurting.
Yep,
so,
there.
Listen, let me get off. I know you got others, but
Thanks.
Thank you for letting me get that message out.
Yep, thank you. Thank you so much, my friend. Take care. Bye,
All right,
Dave.
be well.
Yep, bye. So what I was mentioning earlier, Patrick, who has been working on campaigns and doing this work of organizing and training. How I mean, I know you said there's been some ups and downs, but how are you taking care of yourself? Do you meditate? Are you a runner?
You definitely got to take time to meditate.
Yeah.
You got to take some time to think for yourself, read, exercise, eat well. Something I didn't do when I was younger. As I've gotten older, I've learned to eat much better and to actually cook.
Well, when you're on the campaign trail, man, come on, the wrappers and the soda pop all over the pop, as my dad would say. It's. Do you watch any movies or TV?
I don't watch TV quite as much, but I do watch movies from time to time.
All right. Anything recently you've seen that you like?
The most recent movie I saw was Devotion. It's a movie about a pilot from World War II. He was a World War II pilot, and then he was a Korean War pilot. It's a great movie. Highly recommend it for people to watch.
Devotion. I'm interested in this. All right.
He was one of the first black pilots.
Oh, I love this movie. I absolutely love this movie. This was really good. I did not know this story about how he saved his, and obviously we know in the military that how much abuse and disdain and not respecting somebody. This is based on a true story, and I absolutely love it. And I think that they have the love letters between him and his wife.
I had never heard the story either.
Right? I mean, and that's the thing. It gives me chills just thinking about it because this came out at a time when, places like you were talking about Awake, Illinois and Moms for Liberty going around trying to have books banned. And we before books were even banned, we still didn't know about this. Just such a good movie. I'm sorry. Just gives me the chills just thinking about that too. Let's take another phone call. Oh, let's take a break here and continue our conversation with Patrick Watson, who is an executive board member with Indivisible Illinois. Go to indivisible.illinois.org to learn more about the work they do and how you can join them. After this on WCPT 820, we'll take some more phone calls. Oh, and KTNF AM 950. We're so glad you're here.
Choose Views with Richard Chew.
The badassery in us has to come out. It just does. Shake off the fear, shake off the worry, and be ready to do something. Like Mrs. Obama said, now we really have to do something. And the number one thing is connect with each other and be strong and support those who we care about and make sure that we are moving forward and protecting this process.
Richard Chew, weekday mornings at 6 on WCPT 820.
Check Up on Health with Chris Whitting. Americans average 6.9 hours of sleep on weeknights and 7.5 hours per night on weekends. So, can a nap be helpful? Here's Dr. Harold Smith, Director Emeritus of the Center for Sleep Medicine at the University of California, Irvine.
For anyone who is not getting adequate sleep, a nap is a wonderful thing to do as long as you keep it short. A nap that's kept 20 to 30 minutes or shorter will be very refreshing. A nap that is allowed to go on for 2 hours or more can sometimes make you wake up feeling even worse than you felt before the nap. When you take longer naps, you get into the REM stage of sleep. And when you get into the REM stage of sleep off of its normal biological cycle, it can actually have the reverse effect and actually make you feel more tired.
The one exception? Dr. Smith says longer naps of 2 hours or more are good for kids, even through their teen years. With Checkup on Health, I'm Chris Whitting.
As farmers and ranchers, stewardship of the land comes naturally. Your work keeps our water clean, improves the soil, and enhances wildlife habitat. It also provides countless benefits, not just for you and your family, but for millions of Americans who depend on this region every day without even realizing it. Thank you for being stewards of America's prairie for all of us. Take a moment to find out how conservation pays. Visit conservationpays.org.
This is WCPT 820, where facts matter.
If you're listening to this station right now, you've definitely heard my voice before. Hi, I'm Hawk.
And I'm Pete. And we're with Source Solar, your local source for solar. Source Solar is Chicagoland's premier solar installer, providing solutions for over 1,000 homeowners and business owners across Illinois and Iowa.
With over a decade of industry experience and deep roots here in Chicago, we have the expertise to help your transition to clean, renewable, resilient energy.
We can guarantee that we save you money day one without any out-of-pocket cost to you. This means you have an instant ROI, instant payback, and can save money to add to your bottom line day one.
At Source Solar, we source everything as local as possible, meaning we always carry the Made in USA sticker.
Find us online at www.source.solar. Stop in our office at 5710 North Northwest Highway or give us a call at 773-985-3992.
And don't forget to ask for Hawk
or Pete.
Patti Vasquez is taking your calls now at 773-763-9278. Driving it home with Patti Vasquez now on WCPT 820.
Thank you so much for joining us as we continue to drive it home. We are broadcasting here in Chicago on WCPT 820 Heartland Signal. And hello to our friends listening on KTNF AM 950 Minneapolis, St. Paul. We have in studio with us Patrick Watson, who is an executive board member for Indivisible Illinois. Go to indivisible.illinois.org. And I was asking him about how he relaxes, and he mentioned the movie Devotion, which I absolutely love. And you know why I don't remember the name of the movie? It's a terrible name for that movie.
It is.
It is a terrible name for that movie. I don't know what else we could have called it, but not that, right? Because it sounds like a The Notebook.
You would not expect the movie to be what it's about,
right?
Based on that title.
Devotion. No. Anyway, I don't know why I'm so angry about that, because it should have been more widely, known. Because that's why I don't remember. But when you say black pilot, who saves pretty much not just the pilot with him, but thousands of lives. Anyway, We have listeners calling from all over the country now, by the way, Patrick. We have on the line with us from Salem, Oregon. Victor's on the line with us. Hi, you're on with me and Patrick. What's on your mind, my friend?
Hey, Patti Vasquez, our Wonder Woman. Break out your golden lasso, honey, and let's round up Donald Trump and Elon Musk and take them to Planet X.
I know.
How's that? Well, I've been listening to you, and I love all the people on your show. They really have a lot of good ways to protest and be proactive.
Yep.
But I think now is the time for resistance. In other words, the people that Elon Musk fired at the Department of Education and the Veteran Administration, they should not listen to him, and they should just go back to work, period. Donald Trump and Elon Musk do not have the authority or the constitutional right to fire anyone from the departments that were established by Congress, period. And the Supreme Court will back that up. So go back to work. Even if they try to block your entrance, there's people at these different departments that will let you in, and you sit at a desk, and even if you have to borrow a computer, just continue working, and that way we can really show that we don't believe anything that Elon Musk is doing, and we are not going to participate in the destruction of the Constitution or our congressional mandated departments and different programs, etc., and services. And another thing, another point that should be made is...
You came out swinging. You're like, and another thing. Come on.
And lastly,
yes,
listen to me. Elon Musk got his cyber monkeys working overtime, raiding our different Social Security and Medicaid.
By the way, you ain't kidding. They're sleeping
information.
in the buildings. They bought furniture for them to sleep there. Yeah, go ahead.
So, it's time to wake them up, because what we need to do is get our own cyber techies that are patriots and worm their way into Elon Musk's businesses and tear it apart. And they can do it. They can definitely destroy Elon Musk, just like he's trying to destroy America.
I hear you, my friend. Thank you so much for calling, Victor. You have a good night, okay?
Ciao, baby.
Ciao, baby. Let's get your calls are being answered in the order they were received. Stand by. Let me get to Nikki in Des Plaines. Hey, Nikki, what's on your mind? You're on with me and Patrick Watson from Indivisible, Illinois.
Hi. I just wanted to mainly just say that I was really sad today when I saw on the internet that some woman was regretting her vote for Trump because she didn't know he was going to do this.
Yeah.
And I've been so angry every day, and I saw that, and it just, I wanted to cry, because we told you what he was going to do.
Yep.
You didn't care what he was going to do, because you didn't think he was going to do it to you. Mm-hmm. And that's what I think is the saddest part, is now all these people saying, oh, well, I didn't know, and I wouldn't have voted for him if I had. And it's like, but you didn't care if he was going to do that to your neighbor, as long as he didn't do it to you.
Yep.
Where's our society?
I don't know. There's a great video I shared on my page, on the Patti Vasquez show page. If you scroll down, you'll see there's a town in West Virginia where hundreds of people have lost their jobs because everyone thinks of federal jobs as being in D.C. My mom worked for the federal government downtown Chicago for the Railroad Retirement Board, right? So this town, they're protesting, and they're all saying they voted for Trump, and they're still like this. They're convinced that this isn't real, that it's not really happening. How about the Latino who was voted for Trump every single time? He was pulled over by ICE and handcuffed, and he is a legal resident of the United States, right? I mean, and a registered voter who voted to have that happen to him. He was okay if it happened to other Latinos, right? That was fine. But no, he couldn't believe it was happening to him. Well, they're believing it now. Yeah. It's just that we're in the find out phase with them, and that's what sucks.
Yeah. I'm just very sad for our society that people are so self-absorbed that it didn't matter what he did, as long as they didn't do it to him. I
know.
I just feel sad about it.
Well, here's the thing. Have you had a chance to connect with any of the Indivisible Illinois organizations?
Yes.
Excellent.
And yes, and I write postcards. I do all that stuff. But what I don't know is how, as a society, are we going to correct what's happening? How do you change people's empathy level? I just...
unfortunately, I know. Unfortunately,
that's just so black people can get jobs. It's like, oh my God, are you that dense? Like, do you understand what happens when that checker at the store who's got autism is working? Do you understand where that came from? Like, it's so short-sighted.
I know.
Anyway,
it's a lack of empathy, and I don't understand it. That to me is more evil than what people would, talk about a family coming here trying to have a better life. Yeah.
Evil is a good word for it. Yeah. It's very sad, and I don't know how we'll ever change that. I don't know what the answer is, because they're also all Christians.
Allegedly.
And I'm like, I don't get this. How does this work? It's not right.
I know.
We're it's like we're in some kind of opposite world, like.
I hear that. I hear that. Oh, it's so good to hear from you. I'm glad you could vet. Thank you. I'm only going to have good evening. I'm only going to have 30 seconds for each of my last callers, I think. Hey, Steve in Chicago, you're on with me and Patrick. What's on your mind, my friend?
I just wanted to follow up on something you were talking about earlier. I think we need to take a page out of Trump's book. And when local and state governments need to step in and do some financing where Trump has pulled out federal money, put up billboards, send out cover letters, run PSA saying Trump took away X amount of dollars. Yep. We are stepping in, and we are taking care of it. We are taking care of you. We are taking care of your neighbors. Trump didn't care.
Nope. Trump didn't care. I love it. Thank you so much, Steve. Have a good night. Paul, do you think you can do this in 30 seconds? Hey, Paul.
We are being played Trump's trade war on tariffs because if you look at the Constitution, Article 1, Section 8, the enumerated powers of Congress are, Section 8, Congress shall have power to lay and collect taxes, duties, imposts, and excises. That's the first sentence. Donald Trump doesn't have the power to lay tariffs, and that's why he keeps saying, I'm going to pause it, I'm going to do this, because he's bluffing. It's all a bluff, and we need to start holding Congress accountable for abdicating their power. Yep. If they're letting him do this and they're not speaking up, and they can't, they can't just say, I don't want to, because it says the Congress shall have the power. That means it's theirs. They have to deal with it. We have to start checking the Republicans, and if somebody, some of the foreign countries like Canada would read the Constitution and say, this isn't your power, Mr. President. This is not your power to impose taxes on us, Canada. There's executive orders can change tariffs within a law that already exists, such as if the Congress passed a law that said tariffs or imposts and duties on China could be anywhere from 5 to 10%, then Trump could say, okay, I want to go with 9 or I want to go with 10. It's within the law. But there is no law for imposing taxes and duties on Canada.
There you go. Thank you so much, Paul. Good to hear you, and thank you for enlightening us all. Patrick, we have to take leave. You want last words before we leave tonight?
Thank you for inviting us, and I encourage anyone that is interested in getting involved with the Indivisible movement or Indivisible Illinois to visit our website at indivisible.illinois.org, and you can find out about our phone banks, our canvassing, or the upcoming in-district week and the town halls that we will be hosting and are promoting.
He got that right at 30 seconds. Thank you, everybody. Randy Rhodes is up next, followed by Matt McNeil. Love you, Lady B. Talk to you later.
If you're purchasing a new home or refinancing your existing home, you need to call Team Hochberg, your trusted local lender. Tom, loyal Home Sweet Home Chicago listener, contacted us for a HELOC and financial plan.